And welcome to the 26th installment, I believe is the word I'm using for the prior 25 of the Jonesin on a Whim podcast. We've moved to our All NFL all the time. And as usual, we'll roll right into it. 51-second segment. Not explaining it. Go back, listen, you'll figure it out.
First 22.
In this format, it's injuries and fantasy injuries. Real quick, Fred Jackson, concussion.
Again?
Definitely out Thursday against Miami, but going forward, I think he'll come back.
Man.
A lot of quarterback injuries. Cutler, Vic, Alex Smith, and then last night, Big Ben. The first three were also concussions. Big Ben, a little more serious. Throwing soldier, sprained AC. Definitely out this week. We'll see going forward. And then Owen Daniels, not a shock. He missed Sunday night's game because it's what he does, and he's breathing. He'll likely be questionable again this week. So under 51 seconds for the first time in podcast history. And in our entertainment news segment, we do our big performances from the week. And I'll let one of you go first.
Go to it, Art.
I gotta put this on Purple Jesus because my goodness, man. I mean, I cracked a lot of jokes in August when people were kind of making assumptions about how that was gonna go, and I went with the default safe answer, like, okay, but you blow out your knee on Christmas, you're not gonna.
Well, the human answer.
Yeah, you're not gonna be rolling up, coming back ready to run the way he runs. And the first few weeks, it was a little slow. He had the stats, so fantasy people were okay, but he still looked like he was cutting 3 times to cut once. He was really getting real close. I mean, in and out of his breaks was really slow. But, man, it's getting to the point now where it's like, what knee injury?
Well, and I'm hearing he looks better than ever. Do y'all agree?
He looks fast. I mean, obviously, he's always been physically ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But you're talking 27 carries, 171 yards, 6.3 average. He had the super long touch, of course. And, man,
super long.
I just...
She said.
I have... And this is with Ponda, who is going to throw, I guess, 3 long passes just to say, look at me, watch me. Don't dare me, or I'll randomly throw this long pass. But they're really not going to connect. His percentages on long passes have to be something pretty horrible. But, yeah, I'm putting it on him, man. That's a hell of a performance. And going into the bye, and he's saying I can do better. So, yikes.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, that's a good one. And, just one more thing about Peterson. I mean, you mentioned how physically freaky he is. I mean,
he dominated UT a lot.
It was kind of a pain. I was glad to see him leave early. Although he decommitted from UT.
Right, no, he's from Texas. Yeah. Palestine, Texas, I
he was
believe.
going to go to UT. He decommitted to go to OU, and he said the reason he did that was because he thought he had a better chance of winning a championship. But what happened was Texas won a championship while he was at OU. So
he's not a brilliant young man, but he's not. He's a he is a.
But he's the best.
He's a good guy. He got cleared today of his charges from that prior incident in Houston.
Yes, he did.
So another win, another big performance.
Yeah, he's having a real good week here.
Right. But sorry.
My big performance was Dallas's defense and special teams. That's kind of a fantasy thing, but who needs an offense? And the offense wasn't doing badly that game, but the punt return and the 2 pick sixes put them over the top.
And they are getting a little too physical. They got a lot of pass interference calls, but that's fine. It seemed to still
didn't kill them.
Still seemed to work as far as setting a precedent, I guess.
Yeah. They committed penalties, but they weren't like dumb penalties.
Right.
Needless.
Right. And they weren't. Yeah. They obviously weren't game changing or
like the Chiefs.
Right. I didn't see any of that.
You didn't see that the pick six that they did like some scripted dance around the football, got flagged for it, and then on review, Leftwich's arm was going forward, so it was incomplete.
Wow.
So the play didn't count, but of course the penalty still does.
Nice.
Ridiculous.
And then there were a lot of other big performances. Megatron seemed like he finally overcame the Madden curse. 200 yards
for 1 week at least. Yeah.
Right.
12
Flacco.
200 yards.
Yeah, that's impressive. Flacco, but it was against the Raiders, so we'll see. Graham and Gonzalez in the Dome. Both it was a tight end day.
Oh, yeah.
And Gonzalez getting 100, 101 career touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Chris Johnson, a guy that we doubted, and a lot of people doubted. We didn't know what to expect going forward in this season. 126 yards and 22 carries, 5.5 yards per. Another touchdown. But more importantly, over the last 5 games, he's averaging 130 yards per game on the ground, 6.7 yards per carry, and he's got 4 touchdowns. So, like I said, we doubted him going into the season, but he's performing in a big way recently, and it deserves noticing. Yeah. And we tried to get him.
Of course, there's nothing physical to explain it, you know.
Right.
Like he was hurting.
And the opponents are fair. I mean, Miami hadn't given up any rushing yards prior. I mean, they have, but not to this level. We tried to get him to come to the North State Studios for an interview. Maybe we can get him next week or in the future. But
yeah, if you saw his touchdown yesterday, he kind of had that look again of running on air that I remember so well from his
confidence. It's a confidence thing always.
Yeah. I mean, it's like he's kind of hopping. You know, there's this spring in his step.
He's CJ's second half kid.
Yeah.
He's on pace now for 1,700 yards.
Yeah. That would be just fine.
Right.
Yeah, you would think so. He's operating on prove me wrong status now because the first month he was looking exactly like the worst case scenario, what we thought he would look like, to the point where when he had a good game, you wouldn't even believe it. Like, they were behind and he got a random 40-yard run and he was leaving yards on the field. So I'm assuming he was getting killed in the film room too, because that's the type of stuff you get killed on as a player in the film room. Even if you had 120 yards rushing, they can show you where you could have had 90 more. And they say, come on, man, you got to get us those other 90 yards. And it looks like he's maxing out now when you watch these games.
I mean, I haven't watched enough of his games through, but one thing he was getting criticized about after those first 5 games was trying to find that 80-yard run, and not just taking the 4 or 5 up the middle when it was there. And I'm presuming that he's doing that a little better.
Well, he's taking the 4 or 5, but he still has those instinctive situations. Like his touchdown this Sunday was, I'm going to be dancing, and then you know what? I'm going to take it all the way. I'm cutting field. Right. And he cut the field, and then it was like, oh yeah, I forgot I'm fast. I cut the field. It's over.
And I think it's a mentality thing too. Y'all might have alluded to it, but it's more. He doesn't have to hit the home run every time.
Right.
If it's 5 yards and you see that, or even 3 or 4, get that and go down. I mean, and he's been in the league long enough. It took Reggie a while to learn that too, but they both. Reggie learned it. I think Chris still.
He's a tough runner. He can run in the middle.
That's what I'm saying.
Like he doesn't belong there.
Right. So, and 5 yards is a big deal, especially on first down.
Yeah.
So
take it.
Right. So that concludes our big performances of the week. And we roll into our top 11, which are our NFL power rankings under this format.
Power.
And topping our rankings this week are the Houston Texans, previously 3rd, and rightfully so after outbearing the Bears at Soldier Field in the pouring rain, no less. Signature win for this franchise. But for me, this team still just doesn't have that Super Bowl feel. I don't know, y'all, but offense still seems limited. I understand I'm not using last week or this past Sunday night as why I feel that way, but it just I don't know. I thought their window was last year, and I think it's closed.
I think the better Green Bay gets, the better my opinion of Houston gets. Because
that's fair, but that was a 40-point beatdown at home.
Yeah, that was bad. But,
in prime time.
But it's only happened once. I mean, we've got teams like San Francisco that we've been ranking pretty high, taking a dump. What was this, like the 3rd time that they haven't shown up?
And they look kind of sluggish, like one of those games where you kind of keep looking up and you're like, they're not winning. Like they haven't won this game.
And when did the Bears turn the ball over 4 times, no less?
Yeah. Well, and they just looked like they.
But
we talked about,
but they didn't. They only won 7.
They won. I had a lot of talk going in that game. I was talking with my dad. We were talking about looks on faces and 30-degree weather and wind and rain, and when you see the dudes look on their face during the national anthem, you see a dude that just looks like, I'm really not cool with being out here right now. And you looked at the Texans and they were all kind of like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's raining. Okay, fine. This is what it's going to be.
You just kind of
and then when you looked at on the other sideline, it looked like the Bears weren't passing the look on the face test. Like, they were like, shit, man, it's really raining. Like, oh, God, our field sucks. We can't cut.
It does suck.
It's your field. You should know. And those dudes were out there still dancing and cutting and falling down and shocked. And I was like, I don't know what they're doing. So, but yeah, it's a win. It's a big win. But yeah, I still have my doubts because I'm gonna doubt it till they're holding the trophy. That's pretty much.
I'll doubt it till they win a playoff game at home.
Yeah, I'm taking it further than that. I'm doubting it until it's February and they're standing up there and Kubiak is saying something stupid and I'm rolling my eyes still. And then I'll think, well, I got to stop rolling my eyes now because they won the whole thing. That's when I'll stop.
Right. And speaking of those Bears, they managed to hold the second spot in our rankings. And I don't get the Super Bowl feel either with them. I like Jason Campbell more than most, but for the second season in a row, it's abundantly clear that this Bears team is not going to accomplish anything unless Jay Cutler's under center.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's
Campbell
scary.
was pretty tentative.
Right. Well, and another thing that they said in the media this week that they haven't really alluded to ever, I don't believe. These backup quarterbacks really just sit there and watch. Mm-hmm. They don't really get in practice. They just watch. They don't really get
snaps.
Right, and that's alarming to me that you wouldn't, especially with quarterbacks that are consistently getting hurt
and hit.
Right, and I'm not saying Cutler has an injury history, but Bears quarterbacks do because of a poor offensive line.
Yeah, and it can happen to anybody.
Right, and give them some snaps. I mean, you're learning on the fly, and under those conditions against that Texans defense, you couldn't put anybody under there. That's if they're not ready to play or aren't comfortable with this offense. Mm-hmm. You can't expect them to win the game, and so that was alarming to me. But I do think
he looked unprepared.
Right, and apparently it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
So. So maybe this week they can
maybe and that's something we saw all across with multiple quarterbacks.
Right.
The only quarterback that seemed halfway prepared was the one that's probably been ready to start for the last 3 weeks, which is Foles. And
right.
so
Kaepernick looked okay
after about
because he's the only one that's played too, so that he gets that excuse. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So they obviously run some things for him, but
I'm assuming he had a certain package, like a limited package, laid out for him in those games.
But a lot of it includes his legs. So
but that some of the stuff they called for him once he was out there for good, he did look a little bit off. But this rep issue is kind of weird. And I don't know whether it's based on some of the new rules with the limited practice time. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe that is.
So it's like where you only get so much time, you only get so many reps, you only get so much work that you can do, and you got to spend that on the guys that you think are going to be playing.
Right, because I felt like that they did get work in the past, and maybe I'm thinking of training camp. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, if you're training camp, I'm like, well, you can have like 2 units, right, on the same field. You're just not using the entire field. So.
Right, and first defense with them, and second defense with the other.
Yeah. I mean that loss still kind of hurt me with the Bears too. It's not like I think so horribly of the Texans that loss made me think, oh well, the Bears are screwed now. But that injury is a big deal. We've seen the movie before from last year.
It's just a concussion, so
and of the guys, I've been cracking jokes that Cutler is the one that could probably convince somebody that he's normal.
We'll get to that
sooner.
In the fantasy segment.
But we'll go there.
Right, but and I think in our rankings, the first team that I actually do think has a fairly decent Super Bowl feel, and they continue to ascend in our rankings, the Denver Broncos, now tied for third, previously sixth, won their fourth in a row, and again in an impressive fashion. Some doubted at the beginning of the season, but Manning he's primed for that Super Bowl run. That defense is every bit as good as it was a season ago.
And now they're getting opportunistic too.
Right. And it's a defense that kept them in every game last year.
And then you get Holiday involved. Oops.
Right.
When they start picking up 3 points, you can't have a defense or a special team with Peyton Manning as your quarterback getting 3 points. Because when that happens, you're talking about automatic ass whooping. Like,
And Carolina's competed in every game, I believe, this year. And they did not compete this past Sunday.
No.
They're in tank mode.
They got skunked by the Giants, I think.
Did they?
That's it, because that was a Thursday night game.
Yeah, I mean, so that Thursday night game, aberration, who knows?
And they had all the hurt guys.
Right.
But I guess that was what made everybody kind of love the Giants, too, because it's like, well, they were hurt.
That love is gone.
Oops, yeah.
But we've been screaming
the
that.
love has turned to hate.
We'll get to them a lot later in our rankings.
Disrespect.
Arm massages.
Yes. But yeah, Denver's real, and they were tied. They're tied with the Falcons in our power rankings for the third spot.
I only dropped them to number 2. Because I don't think that was a bad loss.
Yeah.
The Falcons, yeah.
There was things about that loss that rubbed me the wrong way because, yes, I got to try to get out of this prisoner of the moment thing, but that's part of what our rankings are.
Exactly. No, it totally is. So it's today.
Yeah.
When you see that type of loss, and my biggest knock on them is winning a game in October is one thing, winning a game in January is another. And when it's January, it's we need to win this game or we are going home. We might be in a hostile environment. This team may be a little bit more amped up for one reason or another, or, hey guys, it's the playoffs, win or go home type situation. And every play matters. Every call matters. Do you go for it? Do you not go for it? Do you believe in your line? Do you not believe in your line? And that the way they lost that game, now the Saints made plays, obviously. But man, they left a lot of plays on the field, and there were some situations where the coach put his nuts back in his pants when he should have pulled them.
No, right. He's second guessing himself, and we still own that division. And they are a team that, again, I don't have a Super Bowl feeling for them either. I've said it before. I'll say it again. And he proved it this week yet again. Matt Ryan having the nickname Matty Ice is stupendously absurd. He's one of the least clutch quarterbacks in the NFL. He missed throw after throw in the fourth quarter against that Saints defense. That's come on. That's pretty bad. But it felt so good watching my Saints knock the final unbeaten team from this season off. And we're watching it again right now. Why not? But this defense of the Saints, they're finding a way when they need a way. If it's a moment, if it's a play, or if it's 4 plays inside the 3. This is 2 out of the last 3 weeks they've done this. I don't want to count on it, but it's all we got. And if they give us at least that chance in the end, we should get to 5-5 this week, and who knows going forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, you remember those Colts teams, and they weren't built to deal with, hey, we're behind 10-0, and now here comes the Colts defense. Now they got to stop the run because the other team is like, we're going to run on these guys' it's on. And I feel like I get some of those same feelings watching the Saints.
Yeah, if we can get a lead.
When the offense is clicking and some things are happening and the defense isn't backed up because of a weird fumble or interception, now that defense can start doing some of the things that we've been wanting to see.
More Greg Williams, right.
Yes.
Spagnuolo's got to do that with a lead.
Yes. Teeing off, coming after people, getting it together, and putting some pressure on some teams. And when that happened with Atlanta, I didn't like what I saw. I'm just saying.
Right. Well, they played their first real elite play. But Matt Ryan, stat of the week, did get his first 400-yard game. But that's I think Eric Allen brought this up today or yesterday. Is our offense, when it's clicking, just puts you in that one-dimensional offensive feeling. Like you just have to throw to keep up with us. And they did not run. When they ran the ball, we stuffed it. But that's why they got 400 yards. But it's not exactly best for that Atlanta offense. They need balance. And speaking of balance, I know we're talking about the Falcons at 3, but the Saints are running the football better than anybody right now. Oh, wow. Insert Chris Ivory, who we've been crying for 5 weeks. And then Joe Vitt gets back into the mix. And
he's like,
why wasn't he ever active? This is ridiculous. And we're back into it. And it wasn't a 30-yard run. It was a 60-yard run.
It was a 60, but I was saying people counting on that. We can get to that later.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think I listened to the same thing where you start talking about one running back having the right type of energy in a committee.
And it drives them all.
Everybody else because they know the touches are going to go to the guy that got the right look on his face, and you're not just going to get an automatic 12 touches just because it's time for you to get 12 touches.
Right.
And so people got peps and steps. People are trying to not get tackled. And it's awesome to see.
Yeah, because I don't know who's wearing Mark Ingram's uniform.
Yeah,
right
some
now.
other guy.
I really don't, but I will certainly take it.
When was the last time you seen Liddell Betts? Maybe it's him.
Right. I mean, it's very. We get a close up here, and it doesn't even look like him. But it's great to see. I wish that Joe Vitt suspension wouldn't have been 6 games or whatever it ended up being. It would have been a little bit less because it's clear that he's refocused this team in so many ways.
Yeah,
and
they look a lot sharper. And you didn't mention you're winning Patriots style. You give up 400 yards to the other quarterback, and you win a high scoring game.
Right.
Close.
But these are ways we've won in the past. But it is what it is, and we'll see where it lands. And number 5 in our rankings, we're 5th. The 5th or the 3rd week in a row, actually, the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Didn't really get healthier over the bye week. And I'll be very interested to see if the defense can respond without the services of Clay Matthews and Charles Woodson, the way their offense has without Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, and I'll mention Cedric Benson for you.
Thanks.
So, but
Andrew Michael Finley's been hurting too.
But they used to that.
His game.
They used to that. But seriously though, can that unit and they did without Woodson. That rookie has stepped up. Who got my rookie of the half mid-season rookie of the year on defense. But it'll be interesting to see if they can sustain that big game in Detroit this week, and we'll get to our thoughts on that in a bit. And then another team struggling with several injuries, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
My goodness.
6th in our rankings, previously 8th. But I suspect had we ranked teams after Monday night, we might not have them this high. Yeah. And normally I would say they could sustain a couple weeks without Big Ben under center. But Baltimore twice in the next 3 weeks. Could his injury come at a worse time?
No, not even feasible. They're so screwed, it's scary. Because they needed this run, and we were calling for this run, and other
all
people
the running backs are
for
finally healthy. Then Ben goes down,
and it's like, here you go. It's cold, and this is
they're
perfect
all
for
back.
Other teams hurt. They're on a good little roll. Receivers making things happen. Big Ben hadn't had a lot of miles on his body. We were talking about this
playing
last week.
He's not like he wants to stay. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, you had a lot of things coming into play, lined up to make it go, and then Big Ben randomly falls on his elbow. And it's like, what are you going to do now? Right. Because their offense goes into a completely different shell. And Todd Haley's got to be throwing papers on the ground like, well, I can't coach this.
And I like Leftwich, and we'll see. He still had a game-winning drive.
He's serviceable.
The Chiefs, when they want to play, on paper, good God.
They look so much better
last night. They just pick their 1 week a month.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah.
The talent-wise, I don't think there's...
The defense is...
They showed up against Baltimore defensively. Yes. That was a 9-6 game.
It's like, they beat us.
Mm-hmm. But they really only played 1 quarter against you guys.
Right. But on paper, they're a top 10 team. We talked about this when we previewed this season. The more I read about them, the more I wanted to project them higher.
Which is disturbing.
We didn't bite too hard on it.
1-8.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sometimes you're wrong, and sometimes you pick the Chiefs to have a good season. Like, it's just really, really bad. But on offense, man, it's just too much negligence, man. It's too many plays getting left. And then when you make it to overtime in that game with no Big Ben, and then Castle throws that pass, it was like...
I didn't see it, but I could assume. Castle and...
He can't count to 11,
what's his name? Was still their quarterback, so...
It was a nice pick by Timmons, but still...
It was a pass you don't throw.
Yeah, it was no man's land. Yeah.
It was a pass you just don't throw in that situation.
Well, he hasn't learned that.
He hadn't figured it out, man. So...
After all these years,
he needs more reps.
Right. Well, and after all these years, it obviously wasn't a Bo. I think he's got a decent rapport with Bo, but it should be better. And there's no consistency with his weapons on offense. It seems like Baldwin, that is the Oklahoma receiver. He misses half the season, most of the season.
He got hurt.
McCluster misses games. Hillis gets hurt. And they just don't have a consistency enough. And that's no excuse when they paid him what they paid him.
And Bo drops passes.
Well, there's no doubt.
A couple bad ones
last
night.
Well, and that's just steal of luck. At the time,
well,
part of it's Bo, and
too.
no, it's typical Bo, and it's
right,
and it was snowing or it was cold. I'm not defending Bo. I'm saying the conditions of the game.
Yeah,
it was that same front that rolled through Chicago for the Texans game.
Right.
Must have been
because it was just rain.
But I'm scared for those guys because they needed. Big Ben was the one guy they couldn't get away with not having.
Well, he was my first. He was my midseason MVP, of course.
Wow. Did we jinx him? I'm not taking credit for that. And I'm not taking credit for Cutley.
He didn't miss a game yet, so we'll see.
He's missing a game.
He definitely is. But speaking of those Ravens that do play, the Steelers this week, they've twice in the next 3 weeks. Number 7 in our rankings this week, previously 9th, moving up. The offense finally got things going. But against the Raiders, so how much can you take from that?
Yes.
But a big game on this Sunday night, against those 6th-ranked Pittsburgh Steelers, which it might not be the biggest rivalry in sports, but it's certainly the most brutal.
It's a pretty mean.
It's become the most brutal. And I think obviously we all agree there, and that'd be a fun Sunday night game, and a physical battle that we saw with the Texans and the Bears this past Sunday night. Hopefully the weather elements aren't as
I'm curious
indicative of how the outcome becomes.
Curious to see what the line is for that game without Roethlisberger.
Right, because it opened up when I'll tell you what it opened up against, but that's going to change. There's no doubt.
Okay.
There's no doubt it will change. And then moving up one spot this week in our rankings, Stefan's New England Patriots, 8th now, previously 9th. Again, had to hold off an opponent in the 4th quarter to get a win.
400 yards passing by the opponent.
Right, and I have to say, I can't understand a team coached by Bill Belichick with a defense as bad as theirs is.
It's not as bad as last year.
Does that say anything?
Yeah.
It's a little bit.
It's not like record-breaking bad.
Well, at least they're stopping the run, which they should have done always with the big fella, Will Fork, in the middle.
Yeah.
They just I don't know. But time's gone. I don't know what they're going to do. Let's not think about that. We'll move on to number 9. A team that we presume didn't have as many problems on defense. The San Francisco 49ers, 9th, falling from 4th. And mainly because of several breakdowns on that defense and a tie against the Rams at home.
And
they should have lost.
Yes.
They allowed another 100-yard rusher. Only one last year. Steven Jackson eclipsed the century mark again.
For the first time in a year and a
half.
Right.
And maybe he got probably a little bit to do with the overtime. But, them going to overtime, him getting more carries. But the backup, I think, had 60 yards.
Yeah.
And this may be a cause for concern, especially when the team that's right behind them in the division has one of the better running backs in the league.
Oh, yeah. Skittles. And we didn't even talk about Mr. Skittles going over 1,000 yards because he's one of 2 or 3 guys now that's already over 1,000. But I guess we'll get to that when we talk about the power. But San Francisco does have me afraid.
Yeah. Well, and I just feel like
because we talk about Chicago, we don't know whether they have that. When you need to randomly get 5 first downs and get down there for a field goal, do you trust that? And Frank has been kind of semi-limping for a month, and we haven't had our annual Frank Gore has to miss 3 weeks for some crazy injury.
Because they've used them. They've used them well. But we'll see. You're right. They haven't had to.
Yeah, he's in the top 20 in terms of carries. So he's sitting on like 140, 150 carries, which over the course of 9 games is not crazy.
I know.
But he's gone over 20 2 or 3 times. So in today's type of world, and considering how Frank runs, he breaks 3 tackles every play. So he's getting hit a little bit more than some of these guys that dance around and make sure to get on the ground before anybody touches them.
Yeah, he takes a lot of hits.
So it's kind of scary to think about what that situation is if/when Frank does have to go out. Because he's getting MRIs every week now because he has a bruised rib situation that won't go away.
Well, and he's not a young buck anymore either.
Nah.
And they have a big game against those Bears Monday night, and we'll get to that pick.
Yeah, who's playing? But
In a little bit. And on number 10 in our rankings, continuing their historic funk in the month of November, under Tom Coughlin, the New York Giants plummeted 10th in our rankings after plummeting on the road to the Bengals.
Oops.
Two of us called that.
Y'all called it. I thought about it, but I didn't want to believe it. I was like, come on, because they know they can't do this, right? But they can't do this every year, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I think they're going to lose by 18.
Right. It's two losses in that. Two losses in a row, and upcoming games against the Packers, Saints, Falcons, Baltimore, and teams in that division. We're going to find out. If this team,
naturally their division's not as good as,
but it's divisional games. Right, they're always
all bets are off.
Yeah. So
we're
gonna find out a lot about this team.
We can knock the Giants out of the playoffs.
Yeah, you were hard on them.
Yeah. And there it comes.
And I kind of went with the stance of I remember what they did the year after they won the Super Bowl.
They 12-4 or something, and lost early in the playoffs, but they still regular season.
But this was also again we mentioned Plaxico shooting himself in the leg. Right. That was that season.
Kind of killed him, yeah.
So
literally, and the nerve endings.
Yeah, that
maimed him. Yeah.
Well, but I just can't believe this, man. They show up looking like they're not ready to play. They have that we just don't have it today look on their face.
Well, that's why I don't understand why Tom Coughlin gets so. I mean, he's got the Super Bowls, but if you can't focus your team every week at this point,
well, he gets love. But remember, middle of last season, he was like number one on the hot seat.
No, I get that.
Oh, he's getting fired.
I get that.
He has a hot seat month like every season, and then he's the best thing going. I think he even has a football life now.
And part of that's New York and all that.
No, he certainly does.
Football life.
I haven't seen it yet, but
in New York. But,
Well, no, and then you're right. That does kind of snowball the situation. But
it's that other New York.
But he is
never going to make our top 11.
Right, but he is a good coach. He is a good coach. But I just don't understand why. I mean, they're playing for everything, and I understand they have injuries, but they have decent depth. But their defense talks shit during the week, and AJ Green's not the second or third best receiver in football is not going to torch you because you talk shit on a suspect secondary. Of course he's going to.
Yeah. On a simple Houston Texans level type misdirection.
Right.
And they just like, what, who is that
it's
big guy? Oh, wait, that's the number one receiver that we just left 50, like in a film room situation. Yeah, like you turn that on and you're like a defensive backs coach. You just turn that on and you look at them and you say, really? And you walk out of the room. Because, really, guys?
Right, and first of all, discipline-wise, have you ever heard a Saints player in the media talking shit? You know, how has Coughlin not got Samari Roll on, like, some kind of lockdown on just giving out bulletin board stuff?
Just don't talk.
Yeah. And AJ Green has shown, this is a lesson to other DBs around the league, is he's not going to get put off the game by some trash talk.
No, you don't get that out of New England. You don't get that out of New Orleans. You don't. These top coaches, you don't get that out of their locker room. So that's another thing I don't understand.
Well, I think
and then you're right. But the New York media, there's a lot more people putting a microphone in your face, probably.
Yeah.
But just shut your fucking mouth.
Well, what about this with Coughlin? Maybe there's a human nature for when, as a coach, as a person, as a whatever you are in the world, you're going to get criticized for what people believe you to be. And Coughlin has been accused of being this super duper hard ass, doesn't let anybody get away with anything. And so now he's in a situation where he has a guy talking crap and you know he's going to get torched at least once or twice because that's what their defense does. Now, does he come out with the $5,000 fine? Does he come out with the extra hard practice with a whole bunch of limp and hurt dudes? Like, what does he do? Like, what can he do? But at some point, I do believe you end up becoming who you are. And so I think that's kind of what happens with the Giants. He tries to play cool, and then at some point, he gets in a room and says,
right, because
y'all aren't going to screw me because I'm going to get fired if y'all mess this off.
Yeah.
And y'all are going to not get paid because people don't believe in you guys' talent. They say, wait, people don't believe? Oh, now we care. And then they magically win enough games to get in, and then
then who knows, right? Then they get magically healthy. But he's definitely shed his hard shell, for sure.
But I think he'll turn it back on if they don't get it right. Because if they come out of this bye and they don't have it right, he's going to have to choke somebody or cut somebody out to do something. These fools aren't going to play.
And Bradshaw's hurt yet again.
I don't believe that.
No, why would you? And then rounding out our top 11 and holding pat at 11 for the third week in a row are the Seattle Seahawks.
The power.
Another big win at home. Put them another game, well, a half game, closer to the Niners in the division. 3 of their final 6 at home. You have to figure this team's going to win at least 9 games. They have 6 now. So you figure they just don't lose at home. Mm-hmm. But if they could win on the road, Miami and or Buffalo, this division could become pretty close. They have a matchup with the 49ers in Week 16 in Seattle. And Seattle,
that'll be a test of their home.
San Francisco's got Chicago, us.
They got an ugly.
They've got some right. They've got some teams coming up.
Yeah.
And who'd have thunk it? But the power, you're right.
The power is very powerful.
If they win that division, they could actually get a home playoff game, right?
Yeah, I don't have to go there again.
Oh my goodness, yeah, we don't want that.
Oh, that's bad memories.
But yeah, they're gonna be.
I've read that book.
Yeah.
We're talking about the power, and we're talking about the home team. I mean, we got to be careful with the power because the power might screw it up for the home team. If we're talking about these 2 wild cards, and the only thing that makes it a little bit more interesting is what is the deal with Cutler? Because we saw the Bears fall off a cliff after Cutler got hurt last year, when basically if you were spinning it forward and assuming health, you figured the Bears would win the division, the Packers would keep winning, and then they would be an automatic wild card. You blank out everybody who doesn't win the division in the NFC East, and now you got 1 spot up for grabs, and it's like who ends up getting that? Well, you're talking about the home team trying to get that, or the power now.
Right.
And that might be what we're looking at.
Yeah. No, it's going to be an interesting final couple months of the season, and a lot of teams surging and falling back have made it that way. Mm-hmm. And speaking of teams that are surging, we rank 15 teams, the 3 of us each week.
Yep.
We all rank the exact same 15 teams.
Oh, we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have,
So
okay.
there was
nobody sneaking.
No.
Just the order was different. But
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
The
speaking
order was
of
pretty drastically different, but yeah.
well, no, some parts we all agreed. Some parts 2 of us agreed, and then the other 2 of us agreed. But the same 15. So I think we agree on the top half of this league to this point. And those surging teams coming in at 12, the Saints, I put them 12th. Art put him 14th. You had him 11th. Mm-hmm. Tampa, we all agree, is 13th.
Yeah.
Indy, I had him 15th. Art had him 12th. You had him 14th. And then Minnesota, I had him 14th. And then y'all both had him at 15 because I had Indy at 15.
Man, the thing about Indy is, yes, the defense is highly questionable, but they still kind of have that same type of, if they get up on you, you're screwed type of defense.
Yeah, with those 2 ends, yeah.
And luck, this run is continuing, and like I said, I was trying to say about some of the teams that I liked before, and some of the teams I have in that 11 to 15, the Bucks and the Vikings, they're gonna just keep kind of sort of winning games, and you're gonna get to the end of the season.
Kind of sort of hope not.
Yeah, and it's like you need these fools. These fools need to start losing some games, or we're gonna have a problem.
Well, at least we got Tampa twice, and we already beat them once, so that helps.
But geez, man, you start talking about 8 or 9 wins for teams that we had winning 4 or 5 games.
Right. Well, I thought Detroit would send Minnesota. Headed back.
I thought so too.
And I'm not sure what happened.
I did not.
I'm not sure what happened there.
One of the few games that got
Bad
right
coaching. They don't
Right.
show up.
I also picked against Seattle at home, so
Right.
Well,
that was one of the 2.
But
classic wonders.
none
You
of us
believe in the power now.
And
Yes.
And speaking of picks, that does bring us into the Whim Hits, our weekly picks of the week.
Segway.
And I finally won a week, just a game above 8-6 last week, and Art 500, 7-7, and then Stefan a game below 6-8.
Rats.
For the season. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that. We don't need that.
At least Stefan was holding. He's still. You felt too bad.
Around 500.
But yeah,
I'm in range.
So I'm Stolman back, but not in the rate I thought I did. But that's fine. Kansas City.
I'm mad at it still.
Kansas City fucks me again. Not only do they beat the team, then they lose. They don't cover. But we'll get into this week's picks. Start with Thursday night. Miami heads to Buffalo. And Buffalo's 1.5 point favorites.
I have no idea what's going to happen in this game because
I looked at history. They're pretty much 500 since 2000.
Yeah.
And I'm looking before, but
no Fred plus versus Spiller, Arthur Prather in fantasy football.
Oh, Spiller's playing?
He's playing against me.
Oh, so that's...
So it's the second time in a row, no Fred, and I'm playing the same guy. It went on like his
300-yard week? Yeah.
So it's the same situation, so I'm going to get screwed again. So it's going to be... I'm guessing Spiller have a good game, and they're going to win that game. But is Miami going to do the we got murdered one week, so now we got to play like we mean it this week?
See, I think
Tennessee just pulled.
What the hell happened to that?
I think the decline that I perceived going into the season and that thud back down to earth is going to continue. I agree with you. I'm taking Buffalo as well.
But yeah, because I asked about that. Like, do you guys think? We had Miami headed detonated in the direction of disaster.
Yeah.
And
preseason?
Yeah.
And
so are we ready to go ahead and do that now?
I am.
At least you two have Buffalo.
But
the playoffs are threatening to.
And you had it. You did too. I think you had Mario Williams defensive player of the year.
I had him like 8-8 or something like that.
Defensive player of the year.
Yeah. And we
still got 7 games to.
Yeah. Well, they got 7 games. If they win out, they'll be 10
healthy for once.
Yeah. If they win out, they'll be 10-6, just like we said.
Woohoo!
Right.
Oops.
So that ain't happening.
Starting Thursday.
At least we didn't have Oakland.
These home teams have been. Hey, you don't gotta take that. The Bills. This home team on Thursday night thing hadn't been working out, so you can't really count on that.
Well, these two teams are. Who knows? I mean,
I'm taking Buffalo because I'm still biased and I still want to believe that.
And I think Tannehill finally gotten figured out too, and 3 picks this week and. Against Tennessee, who I liked a little bit more than y'all, but I still think there's a run there too from them. Locker's, I love Hasselbeck, but Locker gives them another element with his legs, and so
I got to go with Miami. Just that embarrassment last week.
They're gonna do.
I'm thinking that Locker is pretty focused.
But I thought that was gonna be a weekly thing. So this is more the team.
It may be that they're finally.
I'm not trying to. I'm just saying.
But I saw the Bills, score a little more than they probably should have last week, and Miami just play a lot worse than they should have. So.
And both of these teams have had kind of habits of showing up one week, not showing up the next. Somebody gets cussed out, somebody doesn't get cussed out.
Mm-hmm. And this is the tit for tat. History with these two teams. There's no real dominant team, and Miami is historically better on the road, and than they are at home. At least in the last 6 years.
I'm gonna hang on to my biases because I just believe that the Dolphins won't be able to stop the Bills in the air, and I think Steve Johnson is actually semi-healthy for like 3 days. And they play quick enough that he can't hurt himself getting out of the car. So.
Yeah, and I think there's a blueprint there Buffalo can use from whatever Tennessee did. And so we move on to the Eagles, head to D.C.
I'm hurt, dog.
He is hurt.
Washington is favored by 3.5.
They say Vic has a significant concussion.
Right. Foles will start this week.
Yeah, I think the technical definition was pretty significant. Mm-hmm. Like head hurt and curled up in a dark room somewhere.
Right. And I'll start this one, I guess. The Eagles get 3.5, so I'll take them. And you alluded to it. You'll allude to it in a bit, the fantasy segment. But the Skins' offense has been in decline as of late because I named the offensive player of the. I did it before. They were off last week, but these Eagles need it. Foles showed me enough. The Redskins' defense is in shambles. They don't have any semblance of a pass rush, which will help that sorry Eagles line. So I'm taking the Eagles here. I'll take the 3.5. I'll take the points. Why not?
Yeah, with their D, that's a big spread for them to have to cover. But I'll go with DC.
They're favored by 3.5. Okay,
right.
Just make sure. Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying it's going to be tough for DC to stay that far ahead of Philly, but I think Philly's offense is not that great.
There's weapons everywhere.
The thing about this Philly team,
and Foles stepped in and used them like almost immediately.
Yeah, I think the thing about Macklin's hurt and Avon is hurt.
He'll be back.
And that's the thing.
Macklin's not hurt.
I don't
significantly.
I never trust.
He's questionable every week.
Yeah, I don't trust Macklin, but I do think it's about time for the random Deshaun Jackson throw it off jackass game, and this would be the secondary for it to happen.
Right.
And Foles coming out, lack of film. He rolls out. He doesn't care. He's letting it fly. He's
going to use Selleck.
This whole organization is going to be on.
Fame.
They're going to be on let it fly alert.
He just scores.
And it's just it's going. It's going on. I'm going Eagles on this.
I agree. Then this is a big one. There's a lot. Every game's tough this week, so strap in.
Well,
there really aren't any easy games. Vegas again nailed it.
They got
Green Bay,
crazy. I've seen one of these lines. We'll talk about it.
All right. Well, Green Bay goes to Detroit, and they're favored. Green Bay's favored by 3 in the Ford Dome, I guess. I don't know. This is what it is now. Metrodome. The Metrodome's in.
It's Ford Field.
Yeah, Ford Field, but it's a dome.
You're right.
It's retractable, but
I'm gonna keep hating and go with the Lions because the Lions at home, they look like they have it together, and even if they get blown out, they're a garbage yard their way back into it and probably accidentally cover something.
And I agree. I think that offense is hitting a groove. I think they are. They found Stafford's found other options. I know Calvin had 200 yards, but Pettigrew had a touchdown.
Even
Titus Young's had some good yards, and then the Brawls is giving them even a fourth option. So it's a must-win. I think it's a bigger need for Detroit and at home. But Green Bay is dangerous on turf. So So that's the one thing. It's going to be a shooter. It's going to be the longest game of the weekend. But I'll go with the home team. Hey, you.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like a push, but I'll go with Green Bay just because they're.
Because he wants to disagree with us.
Yes, I want to be the contrarian today, and good.
No,
we'll probably all go 7-7.
Yeah,
well, we can. It's either it's going to be.
Well,
no, him and I have agreed and everything.
Right. So if you get 7 or 9.
Okay, right. That's fair.
Yeah, I could totally see it with the Packers coming out there and just throwing them down a flight of stairs because the division opponent, you could get them out of the way for good with another loss. But I still think even if the Packers get up on them, their defense is going to have some holes in it to where even if they get up by 10,
Matthews 14, does a lot for them. Rushing the pass. Steroids is a powerful drug.
It is. And even when the pressure isn't there, Stafford can create. And when he's at home, he gets comfortable making jackass throws, and he has the type of weapons that they make catches for him. Even if they get blown out, some kind of way the score is going to fix itself and they're going to be close. So I'll go Lions just for that.
And on the fourth game, Arizona heads to Atlanta. They get 10 points. Atlanta's favored by 10. After that, brutal loss to my Saints.
Stefan, do you have anything to say with that?
Well, let's see. Arizona's coming off a bye week.
Because they were working on... They signed 12 linemen.
What was that?
And Beanie Wells has been practicing.
Well, didn't what was that score? Arizona, Green Bay, the last game they played. Didn't they got it under 10? Didn't they? Both.
I
obviously.
think that one was 31-18.
Because I know Larry scored late. And they kind of got back into it, and then So I'm gonna take Arizona off the bye. Oakland should have beat Atlanta at home, so I'll roll the dice there.
Yeah, Atlanta's not exactly beating teams by a lot.
They really can't.
They win.
They did that. The Chargers is the only one, and really I'm going to give them credit for that.
I'm with you on this one. I got Arizona.
Yeah.
You know I don't want to do this. I don't know whether they have. I don't know whether this is fool's gold, and I'm looking kind of shiny to me right now because Arizona's bad, and I don't know what they could fix during the bye week that will stop them from getting thrown down a flight of stairs. Because I'm assuming Atlanta has to go into. They
used to losing to us. We own that division. Yeah, it's not like it was something that shocked them.
No, but they deep down, I think they thought they were going to keep playing with fire and not get burned.
That's a shame.
Being in those close games and making the magical jackass catch. Like they thought that was going to happen. And they figured if we can get it on anybody, we can get it on the Saints because And you saw that one play with Roddy where he started Scooby-Doo running backwards and ran himself right out of what damn near could have been a touchdown with the game on the line. Like, it
was a poor throw by Ryan.
Yeah, but they went back and they looked at that and they're like, we can still do this. And so
first and goal at the 2. I mean, against the Saints D.
Right.
And a lot of passes got batted down because Matt wasn't
welcome to Matty Fire. I mean, I don't know what's the opposite of ice. How did he get that goddamn nickname?
Carter's still pretty cool.
He's a disaster under pressure.
BC made some jackass throws with games on the line.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're in the Big East. It's tough. Whatever.
A couple that went down by 5. Let me make a jackass throw.
That's in the Big East. They're in the Big East.
Let me get a weird 2-point conversion.
BC? And then ACC and the ACC.
ACC, you're right. Yeah.
So that was Florida State was garbage. Miami was garbage. The dude, and he's better. He's more of a player than I ever thought he would be.
Yeah.
But he ain't coming into my house and winning. He hasn't yet, and he never will.
I'm trying to go away from taking big lines, especially when I don't trust the team that's the dog. I don't trust Arizona, so let's go Atlanta.
All right, and one of the 3 go to Atlanta. This is an interesting one. Tampa goes to Carolina, favored 1.5. Hot team, and I think the Panthers have packed it in. I'm gonna take the Bucks. Rivera's fired. I think he knows it. I think they know it. And I want Carolina to win this because it would benefit the hell out of me.
Playoff implications.
But that's why they won't. So I'll take Tampa and the 1.5.
Carolina's defense has been sneaking around playing acceptable defense. They've been not just giving up whatever people been wanting to get from them.
Didn't look so hot against Denver.
Yeah, but
I know that's Peyton.
But you think about that though. I mean, Peyton had a 300-yard game, but he's Peyton, and he didn't exactly light them up for 4 or 5 touchdowns. They had some horrible special teams play. They had some horrible, pick 6 type situations going on. So they got beat, but it wasn't like it was kind of like they started getting beat, then they packed it in, and then they got blown out. Mm-hmm. So they were still kind of in it until they made a couple mistakes, and the rest of the season they've been fighting. So it's sneaky, but I'm rolling with the Bucks on this. I think they make a couple big plays, and that'll be enough for them to cover that. Because I'm assuming they win that game.
Yeah, I like Tampa Bay's offense. Better than I like whatever Carolina has going.
Averaging over 35 or 30 or something in the last.
They're up near the top.
Oh wow, yeah.
So
they're putting up yards.
I think they can outscore Cam.
So you took Carolina, Art?
No, I took
Tampa. Sweep. It's easy to type.
For the first time, we agree.
Right. It's the easiest thing to type in. We'll have to put the
sneaky,
picks in.
It's sneaky,
and this one I didn't even pick yet. Cleveland goes to Jerry's house.
You gotta say that number.
7.5.
Whoa.
Dallas is favored by 7.5.
Really?
Oh, that's a wild number.
Oh,
But with Dallas's defense,
but that's a wild number.
I don't know that Dallas can beat anybody but 7, but they just did.
You're right.
They just did.
But it took 3. It took 3 holy crap plays for them to pull it off.
But Philly's, are they better than Cleveland? I don't know. So
marginally,
right?
Nah, I'm not buying that line. I'm going with Cleveland. Keep it a little closer than that.
Cleveland coming off a bye, got a funny look on their face. They had Jared.
Is everybody healthy?
Richardson is healthier than he's been.
That's everybody. Okay.
From what I think they'll.
Well, the defense. I think Vegeta's done. I haven't.
And Wheaton's been decent. Yeah.
He's willing to take a couple of shots. So that's kind of all you need. And the Cowboys are not above making a couple of mistakes. So I'll take Cleveland.
All right, I'll
Cowboys 30-point win.
Because I didn't have them in the playoffs, but I had them close. Cleveland, I'm not sure what they're playing for. I think Dallas is playing for something. I'll take the Cowboys.
Yeah.
It's harder for me how to type it. So, the Jets head to St. Louis. St. Louis is favored.
Bye.
Well, 3. It's a home field. This is basically 2 dumpster fires. So you give the equal dumpster fire. So Vegas rule is 3 points to the home team.
Better coaching. The Rams have better coaching and better personnel on both sides of the ball, as scary as that is to say. And at home, Bradford isn't horrendous. And Amendola is back for now. Mm-hmm. Now the Jets will hit him late and kill him or something. But
no, and I'm starting it for someone, so Cromartie's going to mask him.
Yeah, but they'll hit him late or hurt him or do something, but I don't think that'll be enough. I'm going
Rams. I'm going with the Rams as well. After last week, I don't trust the Jets at all.
I know.
I know St. Louis is not
Jets.
as good at home as Seattle is, but yeah.
And as I say this, I'll regret it, but I think that Rex Ryan can screw with Bradford. I know he didn't screw with Russell Wilson, but we believe in Apollo. So and he doesn't have the running game, quite the running game that that Seattle has. And I'm going to take the Jets. I don't know why.
How the Jets? So the Jets haven't packed it in. They got like 2 more. We really need to win this game.
They're still right. They're still right around that, and the Rams are like 30th against a run. So
Sean Green game of a lifetime.
With that and Tebow,
and he already had that this season.
Right. Well, he had like 2 of them somehow. But I think they'll see that. They'll notice that, and they'll run the ball. And we need to get St. Louis out of the picture. That's where they deserve to be. But the biggest line of the week, and maybe that's what you were alluding to, Jacksonville comes to Houston. 16-point though.
Football time.
16 points.
16. Is that the biggest line of the season so far?
Oh God, it has to be.
Yeah.
11 we were like, what the hell? Last week with the Patriots.
Is Blaine Gabbert playing in this game?
You and I watched.
I think the Pats had like a 14-point line on Arizona, and we saw how that turned out.
Oops.
Right. Well, it was 13. Yeah, something like that. It was still a lot. Yeah. But you and I watched that Jacksonville team, and it's as bad as it seems when you read about it.
It's worse than that. You got to see it to believe how bad they are in a lot of different ways. And they're packed in, and they got a couple key injuries. They're bad.
They were like an embarrassment to the sport.
Really were. Dropping passes and
they got like same record as Kansas City. Compare their 2 performances.
Right. At least they were competitive.
Yeah.
So I think I can fairly say
the only question in my mind is Houston going to bother to?
It's a rivalry in a sense. It is. It's a rivalry in a sense.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't trust the Texans' focus, but that Jacksonville team is so bad.
I mean, maybe
first time I picked them this year. I'm taking the Texans.
And the other thing is,
maybe it'll jinx them.
Could Houston have a letdown? After the big win in Chicago.
Even if they do, and they could fall into the end zone against this Jacksonville team.
That's true. They could have
a really
quarter and still win by 30.
This team is bad. Because the defense plays for a half, and then they're like, "What are we playing? Our offense is horrible." Then they just, and then that's when Foster and Tate, if he's healthy, because he never is, then they start running. And 16 will be hard for the Texans to get to total, but I'm not sure Jacksonville scores because that defense of Houston has a lot of pride. And that's the first compliment I've given them all year.
Yeah, I'm like envisioning me picking Jacksonville and then on Sunday going, what the hell was I thinking?
And that's why I'm taking it. And I hope
I'm going with you.
I'd be fine with that, and I'd be fine with that.
The Texans.
Yeah, I think it's a sweep.
Let's go sweep. I don't really advocate taking a line. Like
I just can't. Even with 16, I don't know if I can take Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, I just have too many harsh feelings about them. They're just bad. They're offensive to watch because their offense is good for like 3 drives too.
No, sorry.
No.
50% of the time, 3 and out.
But I'm saying acceptable. Like you see,
yes.
Like you see a throw get made, you see a catch get made.
Didn't see any of that.
No.
That Thursday night game was a. And I mentioned earlier, you don't take a Thursday game.
No, don't take it too seriously.
So maybe I am. Maybe no. I'll take Jacksonville. I'll change mine because I'm going to go on my own merit and say that you don't really take a Thursday game seriously. So I will change mine. But yeah, it's they couldn't even move. They couldn't even run the ball.
No, they can't run the ball. Jennings is probably halfway not healthy, and they don't have anybody else to run the ball.
Yeah.
And yes, if you give Blaine Gabbert 10 throws, he's gonna miss 7 of them.
I feel like these teams have played already, because they have.
They have, yeah.
And it wasn't even.
You are correct.
Right. And it wasn't even. It wasn't out of hand. I don't think.
I think it was like 20 to 3 or something like that, or 20 to 9, or
Yeah, it was like a mile.
With the MJD though.
yes.
So yeah, I'll flip again.
Flip.
I'm working on my reverse shake, so I want them to lose.
Good thing you gave yourself a big collar in there, so
Right.
you got plenty of room to cross things out.
And and then yet another interesting game.
That dude pushes off every play.
Every
White? Oh,
every
yeah,
play,
yeah.
But they never call it. Cincinnati.
He was too busy pushing off. That's kind of why he dropped it.
Right. Well, he dropped it normally. But Cincinnati heads to Arrowhead, and they're 3.5-point favorites. Bengals high off the Giants win, literally probably given that team and their
Marvin
history.
Lewis cleaned that up. That's over with now. I think.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Well,
maybe it's not.
Nah, he started it.
I wonder what does KC take away from last night's game? Like,
Man, we tried and we lost
or
because we suck.
Yeah.
Well, at least we made Todd Haley and I look good.
We can hang with the Steelers, so therefore maybe we can actually beat somebody.
But what does it
Or
really
do they-
matter in the end?
Yeah, or do they say, shit, we're 1-8?
A lot of free agents
fucked
maybe
that
they
game
play.
off. You know,
Right.
this is like we're snake bitten.
No, origami.
3.5.
Origami. That's folded.
And,
It's over.
Well, for
Season's
me,
over.
it's Cincinnati playing it, just winning a game they shouldn't. That do a game lose that they shouldn't.
No
win.
progression.
So
Yeah.
I've got Kansas City and
Yeah, I do too.
Have fun. Look, Cincinnati needs to throw somebody down a flight of stairs another week before they can feel good about themselves.
right, but I don't think they're capable.
They're not above showing up and losing this game. I mean, they're gonna need a couple plays, but they're gonna be playing.
I want to believe in them. But
They're gonna be
what am I believing?
playing. They're gonna be playing the human interception. So Castle will.
That's
find
fine,
a way
but you
to get
can
them.
run the football on these Cincinnati Bengals, and
Yeah.
if Cornell has any semblance of intelligence
I'm
at
not
all,
sure he does.
Well,
right?
Go ahead,
Run the ball.
Go ahead and put that Cincinnati
You've got
in like
3 running backs that are very, very capable.
Yes.
Run the football. I think it's going to be a 250-yard rushing performance by these Chiefs, and they'll win at home.
Their line was opening up holes for Charles
Yeah,
last night.
they will
Yeah.
win. They will run the football, and they will win this football
Pittsburgh
game.
does not have a bad
Yeah.
line.
Right. No, they don't. And they have 3 backs that are right. Yeah. Casey Hampton's back, and the people back.
Yeah.
But they have the running backs too. I think they're going to run the ball. They're at home, which noon in Arrowhead. It's real.
It's
still
lined,
real.
It's all lined up, but Cincinnati.
All right. Well, then that's good. We need some disagreement. And a big one. Indy goes to New England. Indy's getting 9. Plus 9.
Plus 9. Damn it.
And remember this matchup? Because it seems to happen every year, but it used to be Manning and Brady.
Yeah.
Now it's the new era, Luck and Brady. We get a couple more years of this.
The Patriots will come out in 3 receiver sets and run on those sets, and the Colts won't be able to deal with that, and they'll just run it the whole game. Is that how they're gonna beat them?
Well, they're gonna beat them, but they're gonna beat them by 9.
But it's like, is that how? Because if they beat them like that, they're gonna win by 20. Because it's just gonna be a run the ball, no possessions type game for Indy, and Indy will have to be perfect when they get the ball. I've been waiting for somebody to do okay, look, you're not throwing the ball to Reggie Wayne. Not this week. It's not going to happen.
But see, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I talked about it with you.
Patriots aren't going to be able to do that.
Right. That's there's only one of the team that we worse at it. That's us, the Saints. But they move him so much, you can't game plan. He's learned all 3 receiver positions, and he comes out in a new spot each play. You can't game plan for it. So no, he's going to get his 9 catches. He's going to get his yards, especially like you said against a New England secondary. So that he might be the MVP right now. To learn all 3 positions, and he's probably played in the 2 prior.
Yeah.
But this is a new coaching staff. This is a new system.
Yeah.
This man, I know he's from New Orleans, but what he's done this year people better remember it because it's unprecedented.
And not to mention, we talk about.
And those tight ends, those 2 rookies, haven't done shit.
Yeah, and they've been.
Wyatt Tittle drops balls all the time. And Johnny Avery, drops balls all the time. There's no other receiver that you can actually care to cover.
Yeah, you have ruined that man's name because every time I see him, no matter what, I'm seeing
that's
the
what I
letters
do.
and I say Wyatt Tittle.
That's what I do.
When he catch back, oh, fuck Wyatt Tittle. Oh, shit. Wyatt Tittle.
That's what I do.
And we talk about rookie or young quarterbacks getting comfortable with the tight ends, but I think we need to adjust that, and they get comfortable with the guy who gets open most often.
Right.
And in this case, it would be Wayne.
But the beauty of that is he finds him in 3 different positions. Like
well, that's because he's awesome.
He is. And sometimes it's his second check down. Sometimes it's his third. It's never his fourth because he only plays the 3 receiver positions. But they line him up at a different spot every week. And that's genius. And that's Welker dropping the fucking ball. Here's a guy, not surprised.
That was a touchdown.
But I'm just saying, what they've done with him and the way he came back, the way he... it's been awesome. And I want them to make the playoffs. I do. I don't think they will. But I'm rooting for him. Why wouldn't you? And I love Reggie Wayne, and that's no secret.
Yeah.
And what he's learned over this past offseason. So saying that they're going to mask him, it's hard to do. He's in a different spot every play.
Yeah, look, he's not your average rookie quarterback. He's
not at all. That's what we've said. That's what we've said.
Yeah.
So he's checking down, and boom, oh, God, my B receiver's open this time. Oh, it's Reggie. Boom. And we saw he threw to him a lot because he was the guy open.
Yeah, he has the head on his shoulders to be able to do that.
Right.
Actually go through progressions.
Right, and that's why...
I think there are a number of starting quarterbacks in the NFL who can do that.
That's 5-year starters.
About 10 of them.
And
including the guy who was on the borderline elite list, a.k.a.
Philip Rivers.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and get burned by this. I'll roll with the Colts to stay in this range.
You're not getting burned. I agree.
But I'm really interested to see this game. I really want to see how they try to game plan, how they try to harass Luck, because I'm a little bit afraid of them not having enough of a running game to take pressure off Luck. So this is going to be all Luck.
And that defense is, it is what it is.
But this is going to be all Luck. Whatever happens with the Colts, it's going to be all Luck and Wayne. So
and I think it's
why too.
Why wouldn't you? Well, why wouldn't you? Not that he needs motivation, but Tom Brady's on the other side. Like, I'm gonna outplay him. I'm not saying he will,
but he don't want to.
But he will, and it'll drive him. That'll drive his team. And it's the Colts,
New
England. This is a rivalry too. This is a rivalry that's not spoken of as much since Manning left. It's only been we're a season removed. But Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, they haven't forgotten this, and it's going to be fun. 9 points is a lot. I don't think New England has that much of a home field.
Yeah, I just see so often. I mean, there's the games where the Patriots give up the fourth quarter lead, and there's the games where that lead gets shaved to 3 or 6 points.
On a late play,
right? Like because they can give up that score,
right?
I think Luck's got the makeup and the weapons to keep it close.
Isn't he like third rushing touchdowns? I don't know. We're just
he's got 5 of them, right?
More than that.
5.
Yeah.
He's up.
So yeah, I'm going with Indy.
All right, it's sweet. That makes it easier for me on Thursday. And then the Philip Rivers that we spoke of.
Segue.
Him and his Chargers head to Denver.
Walking in the center.
Probably the hottest team.
Please say
that. In football, I think. And rightfully so. Let the neck, let the doubt of the neck get dissolve away, I guess. And the defense is still really good. Denver's favored 7.5 at home. I don't think we were even that big of dogs. We were 6 or something.
Yeah.
But we've beaten these said Chargers, so.
Yeah, Luck had 5 touchdowns, by the way. Yeah. Rushing touchdowns.
2 last week. So.
I'll go with Denver. Just riding the hot hand.
I think they'll keep rolling and Rivers keeps drowning. I'm with Denver, too. I'll pick them till they burn me, really.
Yeah, let's make it a 3-way on that. No jokes. Oh, never mind. Just make the jokes.
But I've just been waiting for this. I mean, I've kind of seen his attitude and his presence, and he was ready for this kind of meltdown. And I thought when it started, it would just snowball, and it has.
He's just not above making irresponsible throws. Like,
and
he does it. Like, think about it. They haven't won a game in a month and a half,
right,
not counting the Chiefs.
Right. and it's you can't defend it anymore. It's just stupid throws, like forcing things to nowhere. Like, just you're honest. I can't defend it.
And it's not like he's putting it up high and floating it over. Like, he gets a lot of underneath interceptions. Like, there's a guy standing between you and the dude you're throwing it to. You throw it anyway, interception. And you throw it flat. Yeah. And the guy's like, I cannot believe he just threw that to me that flat. I might take this back to the house.
No, it's bad. And then right when I started and he's a good player. He is. He's a good football player. He's just he's dominated by his mood, I think. He just gets... You have to find some kind of... I'm not explaining that because I'm not an elite quarterback or an elite athlete, but you have to channel yourself in certain ways, and Vincent Jackson was a big weapon for him. Gates is in and out, but he's got weapons still. Mm-hmm. And Noah Turner his lack of head coaching abilities, he's still a great offensive mind.
Sure.
So there's really no excuse for this guy. And
I think they got some underachieving going on in their receiving core.
Well, I know you love Gates, but
but he's a big time underachiever.
Gates just doesn't love art.
Yeah, but see, this is my thing with Gates. I mean, the last couple of weeks, fantasy wise, we can get into it later, but he's had a couple of, I've been using the phrase game of a lifetime, but now I use the phrase drive of a lifetime. And now Gates is having one drive a game where he catches everything, he's always open, he looks fast, and then after that, he doesn't catch another pass at all the rest of the game. Because, like, the team just says, we're going to put somebody over top of Gates, we're done with that. And Gates is like, man, they double team me, dog.
Or Gates wears himself out on that drive.
Yeah, and it's like, this is all stuff that you can't have happening with a guy you got to be counting on. Right. And Floyd and those guys can't get the separation they need, and when that happens, you know what happens with Rivers. He just goes in the I'm throwing it anyway mode, and that's when the picks come.
Yeah, it's a maturity thing. It's a lot of things, and it just pains me that the guy's got like 6 kids.
And they can't run the ball.
Who has 6 kids?
Rivers at least. At least.
He had a plan. Yeah.
Well, it's all with the same woman. I mean, at least he's responsible, I guess. But no more than that.
So he's
Denver
you're
Sweet.
saying, yeah.
He's. I've never been a fan. I'm not going to start now. But not because of his family. But
kids are like, what the hell, man?
Sunday night game. Yeah, that may never listen. But Sunday night game, we mentioned it earlier. The most brutal rivalry in the NFL, I think, right now. Maybe it's becoming one of the best, the biggest rivalries in sports. When I posted this, and when I wrote this or typed this yesterday about this time last night, it was plus 3.5 Baltimore. They are now favored by 2.5 with no Big Ben. So it's a 6 point spread, and rightfully so. And I'll still take Baltimore on that.
I will too.
No Big Ben. That's big.
Sorry, Leftwich, but yeah.
Yeah, I think
he'll do enough to keep him in the game.
And then
But Flacco's.
And then not to mention
Flacco always wins these games.
And then not to mention with Leftwich, he's such a risk for injury because of his release. It just kind of.
But they got Batch too.
Yeah, but after the first
Chaz Batch.
After the first.
It's gotta be 43.
Ridiculous. After the first couple drives, they get to a point where they say, you know what, he's gonna take forever to throw this ball, and when I hit him, they're not gonna call anything. And once defenses get comfortable with that, they just start teeing off on him, and he's gonna get hit low. He's gonna get hit a lot because his release is just too slow. Because once he sees it, from the time he sees it and believes it and throws it, there's just too much time between there. And he takes a lot of unnecessary hits. but it's going to be viewed as legal.
Slow too. Yeah, you're right.
And the Ravens are going to hit it. And I'm scared of him now. He's making it through that game. I'm scared of him not getting a lot of throws off, and I think that's just going to be enough to be a problem. The Ravens are going to take advantage.
I think, and I do think Pittsburgh will keep it close because it's what they do. They're a prideful team. But I love Baltimore at plus 3.5. Now minus 2.5.
It was a gift.
I still think it's a 3-point game, maybe more. But Baltimore should pull it out, even though it's in Pittsburgh.
Agreed.
We go to the Monday night game. Chicago, Cutlerless, according to this line. Actually, that might have changed.
Are they?
Yeah, I think he's pretty much been ruled out.
Yeah.
Did they? I didn't know whether they had done that.
But they go to San Francisco. Yeah, you won't find the line in many places, but Chicago plus 5 makes sense without Cutler. I think that seems like a Cutler-less line
because you have a little bit more faith in Kaepernick than what you have in Campbell.
When they're home, it's
and at home.
It's Monday night. So.
I didn't know Cutler was ruled out yet. I thought they were going to go through the whole test cycle.
He missed his radio. He's going to miss. They already ruled him out of his radio show on Wednesday.
The show was Monday though, right? So
I thought it was later. I don't know. So I mean, that's writing on the wall kind of shit. But
yeah, I'm not sure they can come up with a way to prop him up and get him out there. I just don't see that happening. So with that being the case. And you know how San Francisco does the bounce back after they don't show up 1 week. Somebody gets cussed out.
Yeah,
people look at some film and they say, fuck this, we got to show up.
Yeah, but Chicago's not the only team with a concussed quarterback here.
True.
No, there's 3 others.
And
2 others.
They're playing one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think they expect to get, I guess the general expectation is you get more out of Kaepernick than you do out of Campbell. And I don't know whether that's 100% fair or not. But Campbell will take an occasional shot just to say, don't make me take this shot, but he's not looking to go deep. And that's going to be a problem when you play a defense with this level of talent. There has to be a real threat that you're going to go deep on them if they play you cheap. Mm-hmm. And the people aren't going to believe that. He's going to have to really make a couple of serious throws for anybody to believe that on this San Francisco defense. So I think that'll be enough to cause a lot of problems. So I'm going 49.
So am I.
And I'll like I said before, I like Campbell more than most. I'll take the Bears. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's why. But make up your goddamn mind. I'm not talking about myself. But,
this is not the Houston-Jacksonville game.
The final game of the picks I always try to do. The Saints last. Go to Oakland. Favored by 4.5 at Oakland. Vegas loves us. I love that. Oakland's pretty bad.
Oakland is pretty bad.
This could be the accidental Oakland super close game where the Saints pull it out. Or it could be the Saints throw the Raiders down a flight of stairs and it's like a 30-point win. But the Raiders just got through getting killed. So I don't know.
I think it's a snowball effect, and I'd love to go there and just. I don't think they can stop what we're trying to do, especially they're 32nd against the run, and I think Joe Vitt will notice that.
Let's run
and just run it until they stop us, and we also have one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 quarterbacks, so we'll throw it when we need to, because teams have been able to do that as well. So Flacco just saw for 4 touchdown game. So
yeah, and Oakland's still missing McFadden.
Every running back they own.
All the running backs, yeah.
Right,
so
and probably a couple receivers.
Marcel Reese.
Not that the Saints are going to stop the pass, but knowing that they're one-dimensional,
right?
That's a big help. I'm hesitating a little bit because you guys haven't played that well outside.
But it'll be a sunny day.
Yeah. I'll go.
We went to Green Bay and played one of our best games this year, actually.
Yeah.
Well, this is a 3 o'clock or so. Yeah. Well,
but it's noon there, so.
Right.
Yeah. I'll take the Saints on that.
Yeah, me too.
Per usual for all this.
I took Atlanta last week. That didn't work out.
Right. But no, I think this is a game we can actually, and not, we see the goal of getting our head at water. Not above, but at water to get to 500. For lack of a better analogy, I guess. But, so bye weeks this week, the Giants, Seahawks, Vikings, and Titans. Then move on to our Stump Stephon segment.
Get well, person.
NFL trivia. As you may or may not have seen, Tony Gonzalez did get his 100th. I mentioned it earlier.
Yes.
100 and 101, 101st.
101th. Yeah.
Touchdown against my Saints.
Right.
How many other tight ends have achieved 100 touchdowns in a career receiving?
That's hard to think of another one. I'm going to say 0.
That is correct.
All right. Yep.
How many other players have achieved 100 receiving touchdowns?
Okay. You got...
Well, we can list them later. We'll just combine the question, We'll combine the question.
In my head?
No, it's fine. We'll count the question.
Because Largent.
Right.
Chris Carter.
Right.
Terrell Owens.
Right.
Randy Moss.
Right.
Jerry Rice.
Right. Should have said that first.
I was moving up the list, I guess. Let's see. Who else has 100 touchdowns?
Chris Carter didn't have to take that.
I said him.
He said him. Right. Well, he's moving up the list.
Yeah.
Shit. Who else? 100.
Largent had exactly 100.
Yeah.
One other receiver also had exactly 100. Played about as long as Largent.
Andre Reed?
No. He's not a Hall of Fame. I don't know why people say that. I hate that. No, I hate that I really do. With Carter not in. I think Reed is in.
Did Irvin make 100?
No.
No.
He's still questionable. His speech was wonderful, but
I love him.
Man, who else we got?
This guy played forever. Almost as long as Rice. Same team.
Yeah, that was my guess then. I got it right.
Oh.
Notre Dame alum.
I am right.
John Taylor?
Nah, Taylor didn't. Notre Dame. Won the Heisman, I think. Didn't he? I think he won the Heisman.
Same team as Rice? You mean Tim Brown?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, that's good.
Okay.
So I didn't say same team as Rice. I said played for the same team his whole career.
Okay.
I figured that would.
Well, they did play together.
I thought you meant
played for only one team.
Okay.
Right? Didn't he? Brown was Raider. That's it.
Yeah. Brown was Raider the whole time, but Rice came. I remember playing video games with the Raiders.
I won the fantasy league because of Rice.
Yeah,
early 2000s, and it was awesome.
And then the other guy it's a criminal, but he's yet to be arrested. Maybe he was. He's like a ninja.
He didn't get arrested. He just got blacklisted from the league, so nobody ever.
But he wasn't interested in going back.
Too busy shooting.
Andre Rison?
No.
Now,
see, that's a decent guess. Syracuse alum. Which is only shit I know, but you might know too.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Syracuse. It's not Kadri Ismail.
Think of receivers in that New England rivalry.
Oh, Marvin Harris.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 7 have also achieved it in those years. 7.
All right.
And giving the knowledge to the 3 listeners. Then we move on to State of the Art, which is our fantasy segment.
4-6, baby.
Of the 4 quarterbacks possibly missing this weekend, are there any backups worth picking up, i.e. Foles, Kaepernick, Campbell, Leftwich? Say, because I think Eli would be the only one you would probably start of the 4 teams in a bye. So,
yeah, I mean, this Eli situation he's kind of to the point where you kind of gotta start going with the I'm not rolling with that dude again.
Well, no, but he's on a bye, so you need to run.
Yes, but even when he comes back, I mean, I don't know if when he comes back if it's time for a plug and play because you just assume that he's about to come out of the blue and start having good games. Like I said, I have in claims for Foles and Kaepernick both. I think Foles, like we said, I'm pretty confident that whatever they have him set to do, he's going to take his shots and he's going to get a couple long touchdowns. And when it's not there, he's going to take off running. And they're going to block for him like their life depends on it because they know this is pretty much about to be the next quarterback for this team. So whatever talent this offensive line has, however limited it is, they're going to show it for this dude at least for a week or two. So I think Foles is an easy pickup. I wouldn't mess with Campbell, but just like I wouldn't mess with Cutler, especially not at San Francisco. So I feel like that's what you're gonna do for the backup guys, of the hurt guys. You know you don't want to mess with Leftwich,
right?
So
and along the same line of whatever, the defenses. Seahawks are off, Giants, Vikings, they're all on bye. I know I'm starting. The two teams that I drafted for started the Seahawks at this point. So, if there's a defense out there,
it may be too late after they had that ridiculous game. But
I was able to pick up Cincinnati in one because they play Kansas City and Dallas in the other.
Yeah, I think Dallas
they play Cleveland.
Dallas had that good game, which kind of threw
That's
off some of my
right. So I might not get them, but it's a one-week wonder kind of thing. But
I really liked coming out of the bye. I've been liking. I picked up Denver's defense a couple weeks ago, and I've been doing all right with that.
Are they getting sacks at Dummerville and?
Yeah, they even had a lot of sacks here this last
Aggie
game.
rookie.
They had 7 sacks.
Yeah,
they had 7 sacks and 2 touchdowns yesterday or the other day. So
on Newton. So
So they got to him. They were all over him. They smothered him. And you know how it is. Once you get a couple points up, they tee off, and they're probably gonna get a chance to do that here next week because they got San Diego.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They
so
get
pick fest.
So it's gonna be pick fest. It's gonna be sack fest. It's gonna be pressures, batting down passes. It's gonna be all sorts of stuff. So that Denver defense is like your auto go. A sneaky defense is Tampa, but they do have some horrendous matchups. But they're at Carolina this week, so that's something to think about too.
And they put it in the end zone. They've been very opportunistic over the last month, I believe.
Yeah.
They returned one against us. They returned a couple last week. They've gotten in the end zone.
People have been dropping Baltimore's defense once the injuries happen. In the next 2 out of 3 weeks, they got a crippled Pittsburgh with possibly no Ben for either one of those games. So if they're sitting up on the list, it's about time you need to go ahead and get yourself back involved with Baltimore too. So I think there's good options out there, hopefully. And if you end up with Tampa defense, then you just roll with that and do it.
Right. And after the Thursday night debacle, 27 yards on the ground. It's the time they just dropped Rashad Jennings.
I don't know if you got somebody that's on the scene to pick up because, at this point in the fantasy season.
Maybe you stash like a Ben Tate or somebody, because maybe you feel Aaron Foster's going to get hurt because he usually does.
And he hadn't yet.
Right. Hold on to Felix Jones because Murray's coming back, but
never.
Can we count on him?
No, you're never going to see DeMarco Murray again. I think DeMarco Murray will come limping out there in like week 14 or something because every week is the week.
He's supposed to be back this week.
But he's not.
Right.
He won't. Because they've gone out of their way to say if he's not 100%, he's not playing. The last time I heard that, it was, at least for this season, it was Greg Jennings, and I haven't seen that dude in 2 months. And the last time I heard it before that, it was Darren McFadden. And Darren McFadden, week to week, his way out of half a season last year.
He's working his way.
Getting there, yeah.
So I don't trust that. I think if Felix Jones is hanging out there in your league, I think the problem with him, he's such an injury risk himself.
Right, and no Saints running back, no Chris Ivory after that 59-yard.
Like I said, I'm scared about counting on him to get a 30-yard carry on one of his 8 carries to make his day. He's awesome to watch. We love him, and we want to see him getting the ball 14, 15 times.
And I do love them all 5 when Sproles comes back, getting that.
But it's too many carries. As we've discussed and we've argued with people all the time, there's this misnomer that the Saints can't run the ball. Because of fantasy football, people look at the stats at the end of the year.
But I realize we're the number 6 team.
Yes, but it's split between 2 and 3 guys.
Right.
So that's great for actual turn on TV watching football. Right. It's great for the Saints organization. But for your fantasy football team, you need one dude. You can't say, give me the Saints running game. Yeah, you can't say Saints running game, y'all.
Which I think fantasy should work towards, but it would make it less competitive, I guess.
True. Well, it would make drafts a lot simpler.
Right.
But no, I don't believe the Chris Ivory thing. The only thing I would do is if you want to pick him up to stash him to stop somebody else from getting him and getting a random 50-yard touchdown against you. But I don't think you could be getting him and starting him if you have other good options.
Right.
That are more reliable.
Right. And the other... so the Reggie Bush benching, that was just in game. That wasn't a...
I think that's an end game. I don't think it was a death sentence.
Okay.
I don't think Daniel Thomas is good enough to create that type of situation.
Oh, but it might be.
I know you can't know that.
No, we'll find out.
Trade deadlines are coming up.
And any other thoughts? Yeah, any other thoughts?
Trade deadlines are coming up, so everybody's looking at rosters trying to make up a trade. I mean, obviously, one thing I would want to say is don't get so desperate for a trade that you end up trading yourself out of a championship. But look at the buy low people that are out there. See if you can get somebody that doesn't have enough love devoted to
for 3 weeks and
that's been hurt.
Greg Jennings.
Like a Greg Jennings. My problem with Greg Jennings now, after I looked into that after I wrote it just to make sure it wasn't too crazy. Their schedule is not so amazing.
But I don't think it matters, to be honest. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but I don't know how much you can depend on it. And it's not awesome from a standpoint of them being outside, too. So you can end up hitting a couple of weird snow blizzard type games, and now you've traded for Greg Jennings, and you got to start him.
But you recommended low, but
it's got to be really low.
Right. I've stored him in a couple for friends.
I think the people that I like going after right now is Victor Cruz and Akeem Nicks because they haven't had great consistency. And as we talk about the Giants so much, they're gonna have some brutal games where they're not gonna, they're not gonna be able to run the ball well.
The Saints, so
they're not gonna have any games where they're gonna be able to run the ball out and get to the house. They're gonna be throwing, and you gotta assume that Eli's gonna get some arm massages somewhere. And these little 3-catch games and 1-catch games are gonna give way to 6-catch games, 7-catch games. And people were drafting those dudes to get 8 catches every week, and it hadn't happened. So maybe you can catch somebody that's a little bit too mad at Victor Cruz and give up something mid-range and get Victor Cruz back. It's just something to think about. And I like Fred Jackson as always too. And with him having a concussion, it's risky to do it. But I say if you got somebody that has Fred Jackson and they don't like him because he's hurt for the second time, I say ask.
He'd play if it wasn't a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
It's concussion, you have to...
Yeah, they have to go through the protocol, which is like a 3 to 5 days type of protocol.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would say you got to ask. And if you believe in law firm, it's cold. And my theory about random running backs that run straight is when it's cold, they just do better. Because they just show up, they run straight. Because of that look on the face thing, cats get tired of tackling you when it's colder because that cold hit impact. Even if you played any kind of sports outside.
You fall on the ground, it's just shitty.
You fall on the ground, it's just shitty. And that you can see them dudes when it's like the national anthem. By the time it's Rockets Red Glass, some of those dudes want to go inside and go snuggle up and drink some cocoa or something.
Right. Well,
and you get a dude running downhill on you like that, it's a problem.
Right. And speaking of Ric Flair and wrestling, we brought back the Sheik tweet segment because it was actually requested.
Oh.
And I'll start. I compiled a couple. Big Ben has no balls.
Oh, I saw that.
I think that's the first time I disagree with the Sheik.
It doesn't happen often.
But that's but he comes right back in. Alicia Keys, real lady. I love her like the legend, like shish kebab and cold beer. So now we're back on the same page. Now,
who's disagreeing with?
I love that.
Just stop. Yeah.
And then right, I'm divorced again, but more baby on the way.
You got her back.
Baby on the way. I gotta calm it down. More NFL tweets from the Sheik. Sanchez make all Mexicans embarrassed to watch the football. New York Jets also now the New York dog shits. So they're the Jets and the dog shits. So it's a dual mascot thing, I guess. And he goes on to say Tony Tomo. He doesn't. I guess he mistyped. Tony Tomo get hit hard today in the Philly. Tony Romo gets hit every goddamn day hard. I mean, this is a weekly occurrence. But then we get into somewhere where him and I might not agree yet again. Nobody perfect, not even the Mr. Perfect. Still, the Atlanta Falcons show the heart.
You didn't agree?
Yeah, the fucking Falcons could suck it. The Lance Moore. The Lance Moore makes circus catch like he the doink of the clown. Still, I want the Atlanta to win. That's a shame. That's it for Sheik tweets. Well, maybe one more. The Atlanta versus New Orleans make me happy with the cold beer.
There you go.
True, especially the outcome of the game. That was me. And then, for more clarification, he does mention, I watch my home team, the Atlanta, show the NFL who the real is. But they showed the Saints with the real. The Matt Ryan, the real, like the Sheikie Baby. But yeah, we showed who was the real that day. And one final before I go to you. All men can agree. Just a simple tweet from the Sheik. Fuck the Notebook. So,
nice. And he's talking about the movie, right?
Yeah.
Not the actual
not a physical
implement of
like a spindle or a spiral or just the Notebook, the movie. Yeah.
All right.
You took a lot of the good ones. I guess I can give one Memorial Day tweet that he made. Let's see here.
Well, he hated the Jessica Tata.
Yeah, who was Jessica Tata?
She's the Houston female who burned down the. She like abandoned the 4. She had a child care, the daycare, and she 4 children are dead because of her.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why I alluded that one. Yeah. He hates the Elmo. The Elmo because the guy who shoves his hand up Elmo, I think he has a relationship with an underage person.
Okay.
So yeah. But I don't understand the Zach Braff hate though.
Yeah, he's all over Zach Braff.
Yeah, I don't know. We love the Zach Braff.
Yeah, like Happy Veterans Day. This actually is a Zach Braff tweet.
Right.
Happy Veterans Day to all intelligent people who fight for the peace. God bless you, and I love you. Not like the Mel Gibson or Zach Braff.
Yeah, I don't.
If he's lumped in with Mel Gibson, you know it's bad.
Right, and we love the Zach Braff.
Yeah,
Garden State and
he's done
Scrubs and of Scrub fame.
I hear he's kind of a pain to work with, but a lot of people
aren't they all?
Film are. Yeah, so
right.
It's like he wants it done his own way, is what I hear. Right. So yeah.
Well, that's why he directs, produces, writes. I mean, but he does it all. Mm-hmm. So
he does it well. So
right.
Yeah. I'll start following the Zach Braff, see what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the hate on the Zach Braff.
Yeah.
But the Sheik, loves the Falcons, so
hey.
Maybe, yeah. I'm not gonna doubt him to this point.
No.
We just disagreed a little bit. He loves. I read the Alicia Keys one, right?
Yes. We're still like 90% aligned with this guy. I mean, that's
at
pretty
least,
epic.
At least. I think he loves the Obama. So.
Yeah.
Oops. No. For the rest of and you saw the story that Texas is. They presented a petition for secession.
To secede?
Secession, yeah. That they lead. 17 other states did. So.
Yeah, that's mature.
Right. No, I mean, Louisiana is the one that's right behind Texas for votes. So
yeah,
makes sense.
Sure.
So that
I thought the same thing in 2004. I was like, how could they vote for the incumbent?
Right.
So
that's
how I felt.
Right. We're not going to offend our non-listeners, so it doesn't really matter. We'll play it out with the. I think this is CBS. Yeah. Theme music. It takes CBS one a little bit longer to load.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Quit holding on to Pierre Garçon, by the way. I'm going to come find you. I'm going to come find you. You got Pierre Garçon on your team. I'm going to throw you down flight of stairs or punch you.
Maven got cut?
Say something.
I thought he'd like resurrected his career.
No. I'm going to say something inappropriate to you in front of your mom or something. Like, get that dude off your team.
And he's black. He might get arrested.
He had a
so
bad.
Don't do it.
He had a tender toe for fucking 3 months. Fuck that guy.
I hope my crunching of the Chex Mix doesn't interfere with the.
It's over there. It's still awesome, regardless.
Maybe it'll give you an idea for like a title of this podcast.
Right. So that was an actual New Heart episode. So I figured.
Oh, where he was.
Well, no, last week was Midnight Summers.
Oh, right.
And I just altered it a little bit. Yeah. It just comes to me. I'm not brilliant, but I just have time. I really don't have time, but
you're creative.
If Steve Johnson was fast, he'd be awesome.
But he's quick.
He's quick.
From?
Yeah. He's shifty.
Who was third in our list of touchdown receptions? The last one you figured out.
Oh.
No, I don't even know if I don't know if that's right. No. It's Mike, the Mike guy, and the Wallace in Tampa. What's the Tampa guy?
Williams?
He's Syracuse. I'm not sure where Stevie Johnson's from.
Oh. It's not Syracuse. I can't think of where it is. Cannot think of where it is. I want to cheat and look, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm bigger than that. They're not going to bench like Reggie Bush for good. I mean, come on.
Daniel Thomas is good.
But, come on.
They're still going to share time. It's just,